Never trust a recipe on TikTok. Not unless you thoroughly research it first, especially when you're talking about baking. Hey everybody, welcome to the Hamakua Homestead. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and today we are baking cookies. Today's recipe is new for me. We found this on the internet while we were scrolling this morning. I don't have TikTok, but my sweetheart does. And he saw these and he said, why don't you give these a try? And so I did. Start off by mixing your dry ingredients, which are as follows. 2 cups of all-purpose flour, half a teaspoon of baking soda, and half a teaspoon of salt. Sift these dry ingredients together into one medium bowl. In a separate bowl, mix together your wet ingredients. 1 cup of brown sugar, half a cup of granulated white sugar, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 1 egg, and 1 egg yolk. With 2 cups of chocolate chips. And if you're silly and you do not do your, what you call that? Mise en place.
Mise en place.
And you didn't realize that you're out of butter, then you gotta make your butter. So I just grabbed some raw milk out of the refrigerator, and it took way too long to make the butter, but we made it happen. 3/4 cup of butter, melted. Now, be careful with your butter, because if it's too hot when you add it to your wet mixture, you're gonna melt all your chocolate chips and you're gonna end up with cookies that look like this. If you wait until it cools down so that it won't melt your butter, then you'll end up with more of the chocolate chip cookie look. But that's up to you, and it really won't harm it. Either way, probably, maybe, I don't know. Combine this with your dry ingredients with a wooden spoon. You don't have to overmix it. Your TikTok recipe is stupid.
Really?
Yep.
Even a cake.
Not in real life,
Why not?
because that's not cookie dough.
That's what it was.
Yeah. In your stand mixer or in a separate bowl, you're gonna make your cream cheese filling. Add in 8 ounces of softened cream cheese, half a cup of granulated sugar, and 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. Whip until smooth. Now it's time to form your cookies. It's really as easy as that, honestly. But now you can make your cookie dough into a ball, carve out a hole in the middle, fill it with cream cheese, and cover the top back up. So essentially, you have a ball of chocolate on the outside with cream cheese in the middle. Bake these at 350 degrees for 12 to 15 minutes. Now here's where it starts to get a little tricky, a little sketchy, a little funky. You might have already been thinking this based on the ingredients we have already gone over today. If you thought that the measurements were not so what you're used to, that's because you're right. The cookies are not, they're not amazing. They turned out way too melty. They squished out too much. I believe that when the recipe said a tablespoon of vanilla, it probably meant to say a teaspoon. Also, the sugar and butter ratio versus the flour ratio, I do not believe that it was correct. Perhaps if I would have waited for the butter to cool down even more, it might have changed things a little bit, but I don't think that drastically. Regardless, bake these in as many batches as you need to. It should make around 20 to 24 cookies total, depending on how big you make them, of course. Ding, 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 ding. Now, let's have a taste test. Hi, honey.
Hey, baby. You look a little different.
You do. You want to try cookie?
I want the big part of this. I don't know if I want to hold this whole
No,
cookie,
it's huge. They spread out a lot.
Okay, let's try this.
The big part should be full of cream cheese.
I can kind of taste it, but it's mostly just real sweet.
Just like sugar overload.
A little bit.
The idea is that it's a cheesecake in the middle.
It's not horrible, but
Yeah.
not near as good as what it looked like.
Yeah. On TikTok.
It's such a good concept. But
Should I find a new home for half of these? Okay.
I bet Jeffrey would eat them, would like them.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being my taste tester.
Thank you for trying.
Welcome. I suppose that that's what you get when you look up a recipe that you just happen to see on TikTok and you try it out for yourself. Well, you win some, you lose some. In theory, they should be really good, but they're very melty and very mediocre. Therefore, I will not be sharing today's recipe down below. However, if you want to make them and you want to try it and see if your results are the same, by all means, rewind this video and go ahead and write down those ingredients for yourself. As for me and my household, we will not be making any more cookie recipes off of TikTok. And that's going to do it for today, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Hamakua Homestead. I'll see you again soon.